how we got our fourth republic and where we've come from 1992 to now, you certainly cannot write the story without Jerry John Rawlings and also Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings.
Tell me, when you went to Parliament today, did you by chance see Zanato?
Zanato wasn't there, and she's quite punctual. Almost every time before Parliament will sit, she doesn't make use of her parliamentary office a lot, so she will come directly from the house. The vehicle will just park. She'll get out. She'll get into the chamber, and when it is time for everything to go, she would leave. So when around 10, 11, and because Parliament was going to sit at 2, we were not expecting a lot of them to be around at the time. And then when news started filtering, we start calling some of her research assistants, because obviously you cannot call her directly within that moment because of all the things she was dealing with, being also the first daughter, and she's probably going through a lot of that. And then you speak to some of these people, they tell you that, well, we can't give you anything in confirmation. Then you just know that something has happened. And then they tell you that whatever it is that you've heard, take it like that. People even talking about how when Zanato Rawlings was going to school, SHS, the military parade that accompanied her, together with Jerry John Rawlings and Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings, when they all went there. It was such a big thing. Recently, the pictures have been circulating on social media that tells a story of how in 2000, when Jerry John Rawlings, in fact, getting 2001, when he was leaving office, Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings and everyone, they were going to take a picture. And then Zanato Agyemang-Rawlings actually came directly from the aeroplane using a parachute, coming down. And so this is a family that has such a strong ties to Ghana's democratic journey, and they've really paid their dues, despite whatever their challenges have been. You go to Parliament, NDC MPs talking to you about such a strong pillar that she was. And in fact, I think there have been talks about trying to get her back in the NDC fold. I suppose there were certain talks ongoing. They haven't succeeded. They haven't done any announcement, and now she has left together with her husband. So it's been such a story. 76 years, and a big part of that in the limelight, because between 1979, when Jerry John Rawlings first took the reins of power, she was there by his side. And they've been at it up until 2000 when they left, and she was still there. I mean, I remember, well, if I say this, people will say I'm a bit of an old man. I'm not. When the big issues came up with some country and all that.
Oh,
when
you're an old man. Oh dear.
Well, maybe I read the literature. And the Kufuor administration were talking about prosecuting. She was still there. She wasn't one to shy away from controversies and to shy away from some of those conversations that were happening when she was being talked about having taken government lands for patents and all that. She came out frontally, addressed some of those concerns. So she's really paid her due. She's lived a really remarkable life. And 76, next month, she would have celebrated her birthday. She would have gone to 77, and then 78, and then 80. But God knows best. She decided that this is the time she wants to leave.
And Kuku, you've just hit the nail right on the head. You've said that she plays the role of the wife and the politician very well. In that interview that we've just been showing our viewers earlier with Frances Aban, at the time, she had just started the NDP. She just started, and she wanted to talk about it carefully. But every time that Frances will take her back to the NDC and about founding member, you would hear him say that, of course, your husband was one of the founding members, and she would correct him. No, she is the founder. He is the founder. He is the founder. This is a woman who had just started her own party as well. So she plays the politician well and plays the role of a wife, standing by the husband from the time you have just been saying, 1979, all through every era, both the regime that people don't like to talk about much, through to the democratic regime as well, and through to her as well hoping to be president of this country. She played the role dually very, very nicely.
And there are some who wonder how her husband took the news when she decided to break away, right? Yeah. Because we've been talking about how much of a support she has been, or she was to her husband. What do you think was the chatter then? How were they dealing with that when she decided, I want to start life?
I mean, one of the things that we haven't got when it comes to the political class in Ghana is the writing. So there were talks about Jerry John Rawlings himself writing a book, and then he passed. We don't know what has happened to the writing, whether or not the family is going to build on that. And then Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings is now gone. We do not know. A lot of those conversations, we will never get to know about it, because I think what made that family also really stood out is that they had a way of guarding their mystery. Because there's a certain mystery around that family, and they have a way of not letting out so much. Everything you know about Jerry John Rawlings are those things that are already out there publicly, or unless he's telling you those things. Zameto is like that. She doesn't give out a lot in parliament. The same with Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings. So I just try to imagine an evening conversation around the table where Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings perhaps told the founder of the NDC that I'm breaking away from your political party. I'm going to form my own political party. And what kind of conversation that would have led. And talking again about how different she was. Because we've seen first ladies. First ladies are always in the shadows of their husbands. One,
exactly.
They are almost playing that supportive role. Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings did that, but was also distinct as a politician by herself.
Absolutely.
So she had her own figure. You could actually isolate her from Jerry John Rawlings and tell a story about what she had done. Obviously, getting into the Ghanaian political space by virtue of getting married to Jerry John Rawlings himself. And I've seen videos where Jerry John Rawlings is talking about how they got married, how they met in a Chimota school, and all the things that happened thereof. And so she's such a towering figure. It's fascinating trying to find a word that can capture the essence of who she really was, the kind of figure she was. And so in the coming days, when we get to hear more tribute from the likes of President Akufo-Addo, because when Akufo-Addo won in 2016, and he was reading his speech, he mentioned Jerry John Rawlings, he mentioned Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings and co. as people who used to give him advice. What kind of advice? A person who was actually on the ticket once contesting against all of you. So in the coming days, we'll get to know the real size of Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings, because she was huge, she was big, and she had such a charismatic profile. In the last 10 years, she decided to take a bit of some backseat. Right from 2012, when she ran, she was a quiet figure, transformed into a stateswoman, attending state events by herself, not giving out, not doing a lot of interviews. But the records are there, right from 1979, when that family first decided to take the reins of power. Because in 1979, they took it. Yeah. They were not given. They took it through the husband, and then they took a break between 79 and 81. They came back. The 31st December movement, such a big thing. In fact, there's a whole case called the 31st December case in the Supreme Court where it has to do with celebrating 31st December as a public holiday. And then the NPP goes to court in 1994 and 1993 and gets that changed. And she was the head of all of that. And the story of NDC and the kind of their so-called cadre, their Congress, it cannot be told without 31st December movement, because she had a way of galvanizing women to support the husband, which ultimately benefited the National Democratic Congress, NDC, when it ultimately became such a big political party and a force to reckon with when it transitioned from PNDC to NDC.
Well, yeah, sorry about that. Right. Well, since you report from Parliament, I mean, one of the things I'm reading is her advocacy for legal changes, for example, to the enactment of the PNDC Law 111, interstate succession, which provided women and children better inheritance rights. Wow.
In fact, in my interview with the Deputy Majority Leader, he alluded to that, because PNDC Law 111 is one of the most progressive laws we've had in this country. And this was not promulgated in a democratic era. It was promulgated during an authoritarian regime, during a time when women just did not have any inheritance when their husbands passed, because they were thought of as not an integral part of whatever it is that a husband may have made, even when they may have contributed substantially to the making of those properties. And the literature is clear that the government just did not decide at that time by itself to go ahead and do this law. Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings was the figure behind that, pushing strongly that we needed a law that clearly set out the parameters for how to distribute the property of one spouse or the other when they passed, and the others of surviving spouses and children. So these days, gone are the days when a man died and then whatever house they lived in, you go and sack them. PNDC law makes it clear that those ones now belong to the surviving spouse and the kids and all of that. And Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings played such a huge part of that. Again, the literature says in this new plan to now introduce the Spousal Property Rights Act. She really was big on that. Ultimately, they were not able to get it through because of certain entrenched positions that have been taken by men around the table.
Yeah.
But ultimately now, it is on the table now in Parliament. Perhaps one of the big tributes Parliament can pass in her name is to get our law through, to get to see that spouses will get to live on that.
That's a very good one, because that interstate succession bill, which is still waiting to be updated, is worth discussing. And we've been asking Professor Agyemang-Rawlings what we can do to immortalize her. And it's good that you brought that. But we'll now cross you over to Kumasi for some reactions in the Ashanti region. My colleague Emmanuel Braikweku is there and joins us live. Emmanuel, tell me, what's it like in the Ashanti region? Of course, the former First Lady comes from the Ashanti region.
Right, so MFA, indeed, here in the Ashanti region, just across the euphoria in the solemn mode in the Greater Accra region, it's similar here in the Ashanti region, and we cannot talk of the former First Lady without bringing her achievements and also her fondest memory here in the Ashanti region. We know that she completed the KNUST and then the Kumasi Technology College somewhere in 1975, where she pursued a bachelor's degree in arts and textiles here in Kumasi. In fact, she is a royal. She has confirmed in some interviews that she is indeed the cousin of the current Asante-Hene Otumfo Osei Tutu II. So indeed, she is a royal. In fact, with her royal lineage, we understand that his father was the nephew of the late Asante-Hene, that's King Prempeh I, who was exiled to Seychelles. So in fact, she is a royal, and her memory or her fondest memory here in the region is one that cannot be left without getting the reactions from the people here in Kumasi and in fact Mensah. So I have a few of the people here to speak with shortly, to interact with them and find out what some of these memories were, what they remember of the former First Lady, and what they can share a few words with us what they remember of the former First Lady. So Ben, thank you for joining us here on the Joy News channel. We want to find out from you, you have been, from even your grey hair, I'm sure you've witnessed the era of the former First Lady. I want you to share with us what you make of her leadership in the country.
I think Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings has been a very great woman leader. Looking at the days somewhere in the late 80s when she came into the limelight, I realized that she was championing women's rights, girl child education, and then she was also looking at, parents sending their little ones to daycare. So she was trying to establish daycare centers, especially close to markets, so that parents who goes to the market will be able to send their kids to daycares that are close to them. I think the woman has done a lot, but we will never forget about her, her scarf. And it has been her trademark since she came into the limelight as a First Lady of this country. And in fact, we will forever remember her.
In fact, when you touch on the daycare, we know that it's still, we have some of the few daycares running. We have the one at Abreport Junction running, and also Swami. It tells of how crucial she was on women empowerment and ensuring that mothers at the market centers could actually have their babies go to school whilst they go about their daily activities. But I want also to find out from you, and we know she is a royal. In fact, she confirms that she is the cousin of the current Asante-Hene. The last time we saw her at Mensah was when the Asante-Hene died. In fact, images have popped up where we've seen how she was walking and all of that. What do you make of even her, how she carried herself about in terms of her lineage to the Ashanti culture?
Well, what I can say is that, Nana Konadu Agyemang, because her husband, who brought her to the First Lady leadership, was a soldier, she was not actually putting herself in the royal or the Ashanti kingdom so much, but her focus was to ensure women's rights and then girl child education. So I think the royalty, she was not so much envisaged with that. And then what I can also say is that I remember very well that her late father was one J.T. Agyemang. So even years back when the late President Rawlings was alive, they used to play Independence Cup with her father's name on that. So sure, she relates to the royalty, but I think she was not all that enthused about her royalty. But her focus was making sure that Ghanaian women gain their rights and then Ghanaian girls gain better education. That is her focus.
Okay, all right, sure. And so that's a citizen of Kumasi sharing his fondest memory of the former First Lady, Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings. I also have this gentleman here with me to also find out what he makes of the fondest memory or what he recollects about the former First Lady. Ofori, I want to find out also from you, what do you make? Benjamin is talking about how, Bernard is talking about how she led the rights, ensured that women gain the rights and children getting education. What is your fondest memory of the former First Lady?
Well, I mean, a lot to talk about, but, you know, I remember when we were kids, we were at Abu and was close to, Abu is close to the Kumasi International Airport. Back in the days when she's coming to Kumasi, you know, all the women around, the women and the 31st December women's movement, they'll be gathered and like we'll go to the airport. We'll just like then time, I mean, as Kate, we'll just go and welcome her. And when she comes around, when she see the children, I think, I mean, she'll be sharing topics. You know, those are the things I remember about her. Then also, in the house where I was staying, where we were staying at Swansea, the landlord died. Okay. So when he died, the family, you know, back in the day, you know, the interstate succession law, as in when your father dies, the property comes to you. Yeah, I mean, the property was not given to the children, but rather the family members took it. So there was one lady who apparently one of the children of the deceased. She heard about what Nana Konadu was doing, and she told me that she was around almost about in her early 20s. She went to Accra. Wow. She went to the castle. And you can imagine back in the days when you want to enter the castle, the kind of problems you go through. But she said she managed to bulldoze her way through, went to the castle, and they asked her about what does she want? She want to see Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings, and she laid bare her. I mean, the point that the father had died, the property had been given to the family members rather than it going to the children. So Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings gave her. I asked one of the soldiers to be, I mean, some lawyers and other thing. As I speak to you down, now the property has been returned to the children. Wow. That was the house I was staying in at Swansea.
That's the house you were staying at Swansea.
But so they had it not been Nana Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings, they would
probably did not have somewhere to live yourself.
Certainly. But so when she was sharing that story with me, that's what it made me to love the woman. And it's true, you know, how she championed, you know, in this part of our world, in the third world countries and in most developing countries, women doesn't have a voice. You understand? And when somebody doing something, nobody to speak. But I think that her vision, as what came upon her, how to strengthen and empower women, I think we need to applaud her for that. She did very well. And also, you know, for me, the office of a first lady, how she conducted herself and what she did. More or less, she's like a standard. You understand? You know, every first lady, because of what she did, anybody that comes around, they want to do something. Every first lady, one way or the other, want to do something as a way to, even not to match it, just to emulate exactly what she did for women empowerment. So I think that, you know, really she needs to be celebrated.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus.
and the marginalized.
Okay, all right, sure. Thank you very much. And so, sir, that's a reaction from also residents here. He is actually sharing a direct experience where he says that had it not been for the former First Lady, he probably wouldn't have had somewhere to live somewhere in the 80s. I also have Assistant News Editor for the Love and Ishra FM. I'm joined by my colleague Ohimin Teria to also share his fondest memory. Probably he may have covered the former First Lady when she came to the region. Ohimin, thank you for joining us again. I want to find out from you, what are some of your fondest memory of the former First Lady?
Many have argued on the lines that when you look at where the former First Lady was born, she was born in Cape Coast. So why her Ashanti linkage? I would say this is somebody who comes from the royal family, the Akosa, Bosu, Prempe, and then the Osei families in the Ashanti region. Her mother is from Impobi in the Kwabre East District. Growing up, we learned a lot about Konadu Agyemang-Rawlings, especially in the mid-80s when she did establish the 31st December Women Movement. It became the mouthpiece, the voice for vulnerable women.
Ministers of State, senior government officials, my lords, justices of the Superior Courts, the President, Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana, the national distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Forces. Your Lordship, members of the Supreme Court, justices for justice, ministers of state, members of the Judicial Council. It is with great honor and privilege that I stand before you individuals who are to be sworn in shortly as justices of the High Court. This distinguished group comprises 31 Seventh Circuit Court judges, 5 renowned private legal practitioners, and 1 acclaimed state attorney drawn from the Attorney General's Department, all of whom have sufficiently met the necessary legal requirements for their appointment as justices of the High Court. Permit me, Your Excellency, to now introduce them to you. First, let us welcome the Circuit Court judges. His Honor Francis Ason Obuaju. His Honor Malcolm Ewenam Bezra. His Honor Yaupoku Echampong. His Honor Sylvester Ni Okai Ablo. His Honor Franklin Titus Glover. His Honor Christina Eya Donko Khan. His Honor Isaac Ado. His Honor Peter Opomboahin. His Honor Desmond, I beg your pardon, His Honor Peter Gloria Araba Inkumsa Eshen. The list continues. We have Her Honor Beta Enyeje. We also have Her Honor Sedinam Awo Kwadam. Her Honor Na Amele Akogwa. His Honor Ebenezer Kweku Ansa. His Honor Jonathan Avogo. His Honor Joshua Caleb Abedu. Her Honor Gloria Na Botolai. Her Honor Gloria Mensah Bunsu. His Honor Samuel Bright Aqua. Her Honor Elinor Asante. Her Honor Mausi Bejra. Her Honor Jacqueline Ewusi Sechi Avotri. Her Honor Hakim. His Honor Paul Udro. Her Honor Kloko Okai Mills. His Honor Moses Bedima Dut. Let us give a round of applause to these distinguished circuit court judges for their sacrifice and devotion to justice. Finally, I extend a warm welcome to our private legal practitioners and the state attorney who bring to the bench their invaluable experience and legal expertise. We have Mr. Nathaniel Hegbo. We also have Dr. Srakus Badinye Bapuro. We have Akpene Jibodi Moti. And last but by no means least, is Mr. Charles Edward Irenchi Ado. Your Excellency, let us extend our heartfelt commendations to each of them as they
Thank you very much, Mr. Judicial Secretary. Honored to invite His Excellency the President of the Republic to administer the oath. The President will ask all of you to stand up. Sorry.
Congratulations to you. Definitely, the Director of State Protocol meant those to be sworn in. I know they are, and we condemn. That I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana as by law established. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. And that I will. So help me God. Thank you. Turn to the judicial oath. And again, you say after me, you mention your name after I, and then the rest you follow. I, having been appointed a justice of the to the Republic of Ghana as by law established, and that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will truly and faithfully perform the functions of ill will, and that I will at all times uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Ghana. So help me God. Thank you. We'll take the final oath, and that's the oath of secrecy. It follows the same pattern. And so we go, I, holding the office of the Justice of the High Court,
holding the office of the Justice of the High Court,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear,
that I will not directly or indirectly,
that I will not directly or indirectly
communicate or reveal to any person,
communicate or reveal to any person,
any matter which shall be brought under my consideration,
which shall be brought under my consideration,
or shall come to my knowledge, not directly or indirectly,
to my knowledge,
in the discharge of my official duties,
in the discharge of my official duties,
except as may be required. Except as may be required. For the discharge of my official duties, or as may be specially permitted by law. So help me God. Congratulations.
We'll now do the presentation of instruments of appointment to the newly sworn in justices of the High Court. Excellency the President. So, at the mention of your name, kindly proceed to His Excellency the President, and then you will have the opportunity to take your first photograph with His Excellency the President. First on the list, we have His Lordship Justice Francis Asong Guajo. Thank you. We have His Excellency, His Lordship Justice Malcolm Enyonam Bejira. Sorry. Thank you. We have His Lordship Justice Yao Poku Echampong. His Lordship Justice Sylvester Ni Okai Ablo. His Lordship Justice Franklin Titus Glover. Her Ladyship Justice Christiana Eya Donkokan. His Lordship Justice Isaac Ado. His Lordship Justice Peter Opong Boyhene. His Lordship Justice Jonathan Desmond Nunu. Her Ladyship Justice Dora Gloria Araba Ishan. Her Ladyship Justice Sedinam Awo Kwadam. Her Ladyship Justice Na Ameli Akuwa. His Lordship Justice Jonathan Avogo. His Lordship Justice Joshua Caleb Abedu. Her Ladyship is Gloria Na Boto Lai.
Christ our divine immunity. You're the bread of life that came from heaven above, was broken for our sakes,